It was, it's good to get out here, get the first one under our belt. It's, obviously, we got a lot of work to do. Just trying to, develop the type of habits that you want to have as a team. You also, too, trying to implement, probably a style of play that's just so different, for these guys, so that's going to take a little bit of time. But overall, these guys came in with good energy, good intentions. It's just, it's a process that we got to go through to, develop winning habits, and for these guys to understand how important the fundamentals are, and it's simple stuff. It leads to winning. It's like catching the ball with two hands, landing or jump stopping, and blocking out and being in the right defensive position. What does a defensive stance look like? And kind of really getting back to the basics, with these guys. So we got a long way to go, but these guys, I think, were all pretty willing learners today.
Talk about that last drill, pretty intense.
It shouldn't have been. It wasn't a design. That's a good, it's a good finisher. It's, again, it's about, doing the simple things well. I think that's what, fundamentals, techniques. I think that's what, building a strong team is all about. Obviously, you got to have talent, you got to have guys that can make shots, but, winning and losing games comes down to, coming to jump stops, not running people over and committing charges, sprinting the court, catching the ball with two hands, just kind of, doing everything fundamentally correct. And it's a drill where, if one guy lets you down, it sinks the drill. And we're going to need everybody this year. So, we'll know that we're where we need to be when we get that right the first time. And I don't know how many takes that was. If we were in Hollywood, it probably would have been like 7 takes. I don't know if I was a director. So that was a rough ending, but it was good.
They're still trying to understand how hard they have to work.
Yeah, I mean, you build a strong team by having to get through tough practices, by being put in adverse conditions in practice. It's kind of like the development of a program, right? You go through challenging moments together. As long as you don't break, if you stay together, you keep battling, you keep trying to get better. That's what builds a strong team. So obviously, our design, especially early on here, is to create intense practice plans for these guys so that they can go through a lot of adversity while they're learning our system. And then that'll bring this team together. It builds a strong team when you get through adverse conditions together. It builds a strong team.
Hitting a half-court shot while they're running wind sprints, is that part of the practice regimen?
It is. I mean, that was like Jalen Adams from a couple of years ago, right? Yeah, I mean, I'll do that occasionally, just to remind them that I scored 1,000 points in the real Big East.
Speaking of Jalen Adams, how is he?
He's good. It was just a freak thing. It was like at the end of really our last skill workout. It was one of those things where he laid the ball in and just got I guess a laceration and a minor thing on his hand that I think literally it's in a manner that you rarely see in basketball. So, but he probably could have done a couple of things today, and obviously we got to be, we'll be a little cautious with him. He'll get in there next week, and he picks things up quickly.
You think about the leadership? Where's that kind of coming from right now?
I think right now a lot of that's coming from me, and that's generally like a first year. I think. I think that's kind of like the theme of the first year of this process is, probably going to be a lot more in games and practice, probably more energized, more intense, kind of more similar to my first years at Wagner, at Rhode Island, where I probably coached. I was a little bit more animated in games, a little more animated in practice than I was once the program was kind of built up in terms of the culture. So I would say it's got to come from me, and I got to set the pace. And then you just need it from Jalen, you need it from Al Tariq, you need it from Terrence Smith. We're going to need it from those guys.
Have
Coach,
you noticed?
where's the trust level and the buy-in right now, and how do you get that to where you want it to be, where everyone's on the same page all the time?
Yeah, I think you build the trust through relationships. I think as soon as we got here with the staff, we immediately just began investing just a lot of time in these guys, getting to know them, on the court, off the court, in the weight room, time at my house, just time together, building a relationship. I think that's where they, where the trust has kind of been built already. But then now this is a whole different level of trust, because we're dropping them in the deep end of the pool with these practices now. So right now these practice plans are certainly going to challenge the trust right now, because we are pushing them hard, probably to levels that they're not sure that they can get to. So I think the one thing that we stress is that this system works. We have a plan that'll work. We can improve, get better. Trust us. We've been through this before.
Was today, Dan?
And they have no other choice.
Was today a little bit of a shock to them compared to what they had been accustomed to? You think?
They're going to be sore, I know. That was a hard practice for them. And the practice probably ran about 20 minutes longer than we would like it to have gone. We scheduled in about a 2-hour practice. We didn't want to go much beyond that first day out here. We were hoping to live in that 2-hour range, but they added the 20 minutes on their own, by not practicing up to the level that we expect here at UConn. And again, in a lot of places, that 2 hours might have been good enough, but not in a place like this, not here, and not in the program that I'm coaching. My expectations are high, and drills like that last drill, either you allow it, if you allow it, then that's what you're coaching. And I'm not going to allow anything besides leaving and getting things right, doing things right.
Have they done a good job of blocking out any of the outside noise from the Kevin Ollie NCAA thing? And have you helped them at all in that regard, or is it not needed? Or
yeah, they don't care. I mean, they have no. I mean, if it's not on their Instagram, they don't. I don't think they care. So no, they have zero awareness. I haven't heard a whisper from these guys. Obviously, I think it probably is something that maybe our staff is probably more aware of, just because maybe it impacts conversations that we have to have in recruiting or what have you. But yeah, no, it's these guys are completely oblivious, and obviously they care about Kevin and the staff that they played for. So it's not like they don't care, but they're focused on their season.
You mentioned that you have high expectations, and they didn't meet them today in practice. What would you say are your expectations?
Yeah, I think obviously we got to start small here in terms of where we're at right now. Get better defensively. Understand spacing better. Learn how to run the court. Like little kind of small wins in terms of what we think we could become. We hope to be a postseason team. We obviously got a lot of work to do to get there. We obviously got to bring people along. We need guys to have better years than they've probably ever had in college. I'd say probably almost every guy has got to play better than he's ever played for us to, reach our loftiest of goals. But, we're going to set a high standard. It's appropriate to where we are. And we have some talented players, but we have a long way to go. And I would say mostly because, we just don't have winning habits. And then, it's a complete style change for them. Going from zone, playing a lot of zone defense to full court man, pressure system, contesting everything, getting the ball down the court really quickly, living on deflections and trying to basically punk people. We're a long way from being able to do that.
Dan, I know you went over it thoroughly before you came here. But was there anything in the NCAA stuff that took you by surprise, or anything that you weren't expecting, anything that concerns you more?
I'm going to refer to my statement on that one. I'll be honest with you, I haven't read a whole lot about it. I met with when I met with Dave, and I met with President Herbst, and I just trusted when I met with them that what they were telling me was accurate about kind of where that stood. So beyond that, I'll just refer to my statement.
How does it impact?
Nothing's changed for me. I mean, obviously,
How does it impact recruiting? Has it, and how do you deal with it when you're talking to recruits about coming to this program?
Yeah, I mean, so obviously wasn't aware that was coming out last night. So you hop on the phone there, just make sure that that you talk to the appropriate people there.
Will the NCAA thing have anything to do with signing your contract?
I believe so, but I really only talked to my agent in March or April. I'm not, so I don't talk to him very frequently. I don't really even know where that stands. It's not really a concern of mine.
Have any of the front court players stood out above the rest, or anyone who's shown some improvement in your mind?
Yeah, I think Eric's in really great shape. I mean, you can see that here. He's moving well. He's got to get a lot better on defense, and he's got to rebound the ball better, much better positionally. But he's in really good shape. I think Josh's motor is picking up. It's not where it needs to be, but it's getting closer. I think Isaiah, he's got to improve his skill set, but he's a pretty good glue guy. And we really didn't get much of a good look at Mo or Yahweh, because those guys kind of, they went, they got injured relatively quickly here, so we didn't get a great feel for them. And then, obviously now you're just trying to figure out, I'd say, I think we have a couple guys we could throw in at that kind of 5 spot. I think probably the biggest concern is probably like who can we play at the 4. We got a bunch of guards that we could play if we want to go 3 guards this year, and be agile and athletic on the perimeter and really be able to pressure and guard people. I'd say one of the biggest question marks for us. I'd say what keeps me awake at night is just what are we going to do at the 4, and that's a little bit scary. Do we try to play Tyler Sid there and play small and try to spread people out and play a fast game, or do we try to play, Yahweh or Isaiah there, potentially Mo there and play big, or do you just try to play it both ways during the course of the game, which is, not really what you want to do. You want to kind of embrace one style, but we may just have to kind of be flexible a little bit that way.
Yahweh's injury, could that be long term, or?
No, I think we should be starting to see him. He's recovering well. We're hoping to see him, first week of October here, getting out there and moving around. So he'll be back, I think, before Mo. But Mo's progressing well as well.
Is Tariq full go?
Yeah, knock on wood. Like he showed up. Like he's got rust. He's got rust, and we got to be patient with him. He basically hasn't played much basketball the last couple of years, but that guy, he's a soldier. He's really trying to lead, even while he's trying to get the rust and his conditioning back. But that young man got through a full practice with no hiccups at all, and was, physically engaged. He took some shots and bounced up, and looks like there's absolutely, you wouldn't know that he's had any issues with his shoulder. So
Can Christian be a leader for you? I mean, we know he's vocal.
Yeah. No, he can, because what I really like about Christian is just like when he comes in here. This is the sports. When you show up, people got to feel you. You got to have a certain personality for this, and he has the personality for it. The confidence, the swagger, like you need that in sports. So he shows up with it. But it's just in order for you to lead others, you got to channel it properly. You got to have people have to want to go with you. It's got to be about the group. And I think if he could do a better job of getting his attention to others, and building others up around him, because he's really good at, kind of getting himself ready. You know what I mean? So like if he could be a heck of a leader for us. But that's a hard thing for a young person to do. It's like it's kind of deeply embedded there. But it's something that as a coach, like we need more guys with his type of swagger. And it would help us if he could use that and kind of like infuse it into Josh, Tyler, some of the more quiet guys.
Jalen, I mean, even on the sidelines, it looked like he was getting the rest of his teammates up. I mean, what have you seen out of him in terms of leadership?
I mean, the first way he's led by getting himself in great shape. You know what has impressed me about Jalen, just from watching the 27 games I watched from last year, was like he he's a better practice player than I thought he would be. Like sometimes you get a guy that's talented, like in like a shell, non-live defensive drills, closeout drills, zigzags, some of the kind of the monotonous non-live drills you do as a coach to build up. You know, sometimes you think of a player that talented, it will be like a little bit lazy and a corner cutter in that. And that has been my experience with him. Like he's kind of a guy that goes harder in kind of the monotonous drills that you have to go through as a team better than I would have imagined. So that's impressed me a lot about him. And he's got a great way about him. People just are drawn to Jalen because of his personality. He's just a cool guy and a guy that a lot of people like. Now, what he's got to add to that coolness that everyone likes is sometimes he's got to be willing to have his teammates not like him because he's got to spit some truth out at them that they need to do better. And so he's got to understand he's not running for UConn class president, and sometimes he's got to be willing to be a hole in here. You know, like that's part of being a leader too. Like not everyone could like you all the time sometimes.